My hell testimony. My hell testimony starts off the day that I start to commit my life to being cool. So at age 9/10 years old, I'm in elementary. Um, yeah, elementary. It was like right around heading to fifth grade where I started to capture a glimpse of what being ghetto was like. There was a little kid that wore army pants and they were dropped, and he got my attention. And then there was a kid by the name of Aramis. Believe it or not, I remember his name. And this kid was very, he was a different kid. And this kid right here was like, he showed me what it was like to be rebellious. And the teacher couldn't even control this kid. He would leave the classroom and fifth grade, and there was like tables being flipped and chairs being thrown and all kinds of stuff by this one kid. And I was just like taken back by that because up to that point, all I had seen was teacher speaks, students listen, and they're obedient. I wasn't exposed to anything other than just listen to your elders. So at that point, the ice was broken for me. It was not like a vortex was open and I just flew in kind of thing, but it was an exposure for me that left an impression. Sixth grade was where I started to was drawn in by the cool crowd because in sixth grade you're looking up to the eighth graders, and all the eighth graders were quote unquote cool. Why is this relevant to hell? I'll tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. And so sixth grade, I start to like really see that school was almost like a campground for Satan to train people. Because mind you, I was innocent and I was learning all my bad behavior in school. So I learned how to skip, I learned how to get detention, I learned how to rebel, all from other students, how to tag up, what graffiti was like, how to smoke, how to drink, how to steal, how to fight, all that stuff. I learned it in school, public school. And that you are who you deal with. You know, your peers, um, they're a reflection of who you're going to be. That's a that's a fact. So, especially if you like them and you're drawn to them to want to like please them kind of thing, you respect them so much that you're willing to do anything that they say. That's the most dangerous place you could be because you lose yourself in that place. You completely become a slave of that person, and let me just tell you, it's horrifying where that could take you. Because if you really think about it, you can do things that are irreversible. Irreversible. You know, there's people that go to jail for a long, long time because of one action, one bad decision. I'm thinking about how there was a bunch of students that were young, and they got on this bridge and they started throwing big old rocks over the bridge to hit cars. These are things that I used to do, not off of the bridge, but I used to throw rocks at cars, eggs at cars, shoot little BB at cars and stuff like that. And I had no idea what I was doing. It was all peer pressure driven. It was all they're doing it, I'll join in. He, ha ha ha, the whole thing. We'll be egging cop cars as they cross by. This is middle school. On like knocking on doors and running, throwing shells at windows at night, flattening people's tires. Um, Not so much slicing them, but putting a little pebble or just flattening their tire by putting flattening it right there just by putting your nail in the tire gauge. So this is, I learned all this in school. And what I was not told, what I was not taught, what I wish I was told was that behind the scenes everything was spiritual, and I had no idea. I just thought that we were having fun. That's all that I thought it was. Little by little, especially when I started to smoke and drink, that's really when all the spiritual activity started to um, be exposed. And when I started to smoke and drink, the mentality was the more you did, the more you drank, and the more you smoked, the cooler you were. Now, when you're ambitious and you're young, and you're especially when you're hanging around with older kids than you definitely want to make up for that age bracket by doing more than them. And then you get props. They talk about you, smile. They embrace you. They receive you. I remember smoking weed, and people used to feel sorry for me, like 18-year-olds. I'm like, man, this kid is so young, man. How old are you? Like with a little squeaky voice, I'm 10. You know what I mean? Like they'll be like, man, I feel wrong in passing you this blunt. You know what I mean? Like you're such a little kid. And and I just remember that, hot boxing and the whole thing, bro. And in the very beginning, there's no connotations, no revelation, no teaching, nothing up here that is geared on reality. It's all about doing what's right in front of you. You're not able to track 3 steps ahead of what you're doing right now. Like I can, there's that famous question, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, in order to see yourself in 5 years, you gotta have this mindset where you're able to track your stepping stones kind of thing, and how you can gather from here to there and kind of navigate through all the obstacles, and get to the place where you can say, well, I can safely say that I'll have a house in 5 years. I can safely say, because by then I can work out some of the stuff that's in the way now. You know what I mean, kind of thing. But when you're young, you don't think about where you're going to be next week or the next day. You don't think about the next hour. Everything is like what's right in front of you. So when you want to be accepted, when you want to be embraced, these are dangerous places to be. Because for a young, impressionable mind, they're willing to do anything to be accepted and received. And what they're not told is that what they want to be accepted to is no better. The people that they want to accept them are demons in the people. There's this there's demons that operate through people. There's demons that are living inside a person, and the demon is running that person's life. And the person looks like something desirable to somebody that's younger, because the demon comes off as, often demons command fear, respect. They're brawlers. So like when you see a person, like as an example, some of the people that I used to hang around with, everything was about fighting. A lot of it was about fighting. And so that's usually how your name got out there, and the cool points were attached to you, and you got the respect, you got the fear, you got the acceptance kind of from other people, like, all right, I'm gonna follow you kind of thing. But what a lot of people don't understand is that person, there's a demon there, right? And nobody talks about it, nobody acknowledges it, but that's what it is. And so really, in likelihood, they're following a demon and not so much a person. And that's a game changer, because now all of a sudden things are not what they seem, kind of thing. And it changes things, because if you're following a demon, then you're going to engage in a lot of demon-like substance and activity and behavior, and you're going to see things that they see and feel things that they feel. So when I was young, it was all about pleasure and being accepted, being part of something bigger than myself. I was insecure, I had no identity, and so I had to gain identity in other people. And so what they would tell me was what I would become. And so I wanted to become a man, because that's what every boy wants to be, is a man. But I didn't have a father to teach me how to be a man. So for me, being tough, I related it to fighting. And so I said to myself, fine, if that's what I gotta do, then that's what I will do, and then I'll become a man. So I started to fight, and sometimes the fights would just be friendly. We'll say, hey, you want to have a friendly fade? Let me turn this off real quick so that you can listen to me without interruption, because this thing will go off over and over again. So I remember having friendly fades, you know what I mean? I remember body boxing, and I remember boxing people and all that. It was part of our norm. There was something brewing on the inside of me, which was being exerted through violence. So the insecurities, the identity issues, the lack, the frustrations, all of that, I was projecting it through violence, right? And I liked the attention that I was getting in return from my peers, which almost confirmed me, almost made me feel almost like I'm on the right track. So the problem with the world of the demonic is that the attention that you get for doing the wrong things affirms you in doing the wrong things. It only enables you to do more wrong things. And it's not as secure as you think it is, because the people that are complimenting you, they, for the most part, it's a setup. It's a setup for you to be encouraged to go forward in that lifestyle. Only as you go forward, you find trouble, drama, problems, police problems, jail time, and all this stuff, and you start to see that those people that egged you on to become this person, often they drift away into the darkness, and like they might be there, but they're not. You can't count on them, and you're by yourself at this point. And so this is the kind of stuff that is worthy of speaking about, because if we're going to tell a story, let's tell the whole story. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and be transparent about it, so that people can decide whether they want to start this whole cool club thing or not. Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a whole lot of demons, there's a whole lot of drama and problems. The pleasure, yeah, you'll have sex, you'll have the females. There's a little bit of pleasure from the drugs, but mostly it develops into mental illness. Mental illness is regarded as voices in your head, that, depression, bipolar, all that kind of stuff. But it's channeling demons. It's channeling spirits that enter into your life to make you go wacko. So over a period of time of doing these things, what you're doing is that sin itself starts to become part of you on the inside, and it's impossible to control all this. You're not in control. It's as you open up the door and demons start to come in, it's an illusion that you're in control. You're not, because at that point you're falling in love with the whole game of it all, because they don't move you from initiation to the drama, to how do I say this, like you don't start something and then like move into hell the next chapter. It's phase, it's chapters, it's stepping stones in order to get there. But by the time you get there, you notice that you've done a lot of dirt. You've done a lot of deeds, bad deeds. You've sold a lot of yourself. You've given a lot of your goodness away in order to get this negativity and this darkness in you. It's all training behind the scenes. It's a lot of training. Don't you see the training going on right now on TikTok and all these social media platforms? There's training. It's a training ground. The training ground is that there is a movement of a bunch of young people pursuing. There's a lot of jokes out there. The jokes are always surrounded about doing somebody else harm or themselves, etc. And the movement there is that the cloud is that other people that are not there yet, they're watching this and they're saying that these videos are, there's a lot of them, like hundreds of them, makes the illusion out to be that this world conducts itself like this. This is the operation of this world. So the more that they watch this kind of stuff, the more they're convinced that this is the route they have to take in order to be successful, popular, liked, embraced, the whole thing. The problem with that training is that you're being trained to be evil. Because there is two roads. There's not 50 roads, there's two roads. It's the road of destruction and the road that leads to life. Now, the road that leads to life comes down to one thing: love. Love one another and love God. The thing about love is that within that one word, love, is a whole lot of actions that can branch out of that one word. The word love is an action. And I actually have it right there, right? And if you read that plaque, let me see if you can read it. It says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it doesn't keep a record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, it only rejoices in the truth. It always protects, it always trusts, it always hopes, and always preserves. Love never fails. And that's Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. So guys, it's just so funny that that's right behind me, because love is what God is all about in terms of why he created us, the purpose. Everything is affiliated with that one word, right? And so what is the devil all about? Well, the Bible says that the devil's about three things. The devil's about stealing, killing, and destroying. So just like we got that one word, love, and we extracted so many different words out of it, actions out of it, charitable deeds, and what it's not prideful, it's not boastful, it's not, selfish. Stealing, killing, and destroying. If you were to dissect those three things, what would you get out of it? Well, you would see a lot of the things that come out of a place of TikTok and this training ground that I was just talking about, because, you're stealing people's future, you're stealing people's destiny by pursuing the wrong gains. You're destroying, There's a lot of different ways to steal, and there's a lot of different ways to destroy. There's the destruction of property, there's the destruction of intellectual, your ability to think the right way. There's destruction, there's different deaths, and then you can kill dreams, you can kill aspirations just as much as you can kill a person, right? And so the devil's after those three things: stealing, killing, and destroying. And so you can really dissect what road by the fruit of it. But this video is about hell and how I got to hell. Okay, I was giving you the background. Now I'm just going to talk about hell in terms of what I saw when I got there. And I will begin by telling you that Satan was my friend. Once upon a time, um, I was a teenager, and in the spiritual realm, he, how do you put this? He made himself known to me. I heard the voices of demons in my head at a young age. Uh, there was no like I'm the devil talk, serve me. There was nothing like that happened. There was just like how you're going to the gas station today, for example, a convenience store or whatever, and you're there, and then you see other people who go to that same place, and you nod, and you greet each other, and let's say you see somebody that you're kind of like fond of, and you engage into a conversation for whatever reason, and you hit it off, kind of thing. That's what happened with me when I was younger as a teenager. It was like this: who you really are is not the shell. Who you really are is a spirit being within the shell. And in my spirit being, I was like basically chilling with the enemy, but he was coming off as an angel of light to me. The Bible talks about the devil disguising himself as an angel of light. And so he disguised himself as a happy guy. He was always smiling, and he was getting me to do the wrong things. But I had no education, zero education on consequences, on sin, on what the Bible talks about. So the smile, I just attributed it to um, pleasure, fun, and how cool, this cat is, so to speak. That was it. And so as I got consumed with sin and doing the things of sin, smoking, drinking, partying, stealing, fighting, um, fornicating, the whole thing, I just gave myself over to that because there was nothing else. I mean, remember, while I'm doing all those things, there's training going on that school is for nerds. Cool people don't do homework. Cool people skip class. And so I was doing all those things. Um, you know, so everything that's really good, like genuinely good, like education is a good thing. Like in the world of being cool, those things are bad, right? You call them goody goodies. You call them nerds, all to give them a bad connotation of that's not who you want to be. That's the opposite of what you want to be. You want to be popular, you want to be liked, you want to be talked about, you want your reputation. It's all about image, it's about smoking and looking cool while you do it, and and getting the females. It's about all that kind of stuff, getting violent and fighting and proving yourself and being tough and having stories to tell, scars to show, all that kind of stuff. And so that's the life that the devil paints out to being a glorious life to live. He does a good job at that. He convinces the people that this is the life that is the glorious life. You know what I mean? I remember movies being played out in my mind about being arrested and how everybody, all eyes are on me while all that is happening and going to jail and this and that, except in reality, I'm suffering. Like, this is the reality of it all. I'm suffering. My record is now going to prohibit me from getting a good job. The tattoos that he is encouraging me to get, there was once upon a time where I wanted to look like a newspaper. I wanted tattoos on my face. I wanted tattoos all over my body, and I'm talking about everywhere. But these were demons that were egging me on to do it. Now, God, before I was even saved, um, it's not that He didn't let me get it or anything like that. It's just that something always happened when I would go to the tattoo parlor shop to get it. And also I didn't have a job, so I didn't have money. So like my mom didn't want to pay for a tattoo kind of thing, you know what I mean? So I never got to. I have one tattoo, and that tattoo that I have is on my shoulder, and it's the letter M, and it stands for miracle. Because I've gone through so many life and death situations where it's a miracle that I'm still alive. That's the reason I got the letter M. Um, which, if you see my tag on YouTube, it's proof. The reason that it's proof is because God said when He saved me and He flipped me like a pancake and He stripped me of all that evil and He decided to give me identity and revealed to me truth. And I was walking it out in the light, away from darkness. God spoke to me and He said to me, "You are proof that I am alive." And I'll never forget that day. You are proof that I am real. And the reason being is that I went so far. I went so far in evil. I have something right here. This is the devil's way of not allowing me to go on. Hold on. Oh boy. Hold on. I literally having trouble breathing right now. Give me a second. Hello, hello. I feel better now. I'm not gonna make this video too long. Let me get to the hell testimony. I'm a teacher, and I wanted to teach you on how people get there, not just tell you my hell testimony, because that's not gonna help you in any kind of way. I could describe to you how, and I've done it in other videos already, but I'll do it again. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the teaching aspect of how not to go to hell is more important to me than just describing hell to you. Now, let me go ahead and tell you about that. When I went to hell was when I was a young adult. Like, for example, I don't remember age 18. 17, I got shot and pistol whipped and jumped. These are different segments in my life that the devil was trying to take me out, and God stepped in. Very, very supernatural day. I was able to see God. Hey, let me tell you something, okay? I'm going to tell you what I saw that day, the day that I got shot. I was high as a kite. I'm going to tell that story because it's 28 minutes in. I don't even know, but whatever. I was set up. The guy asked me, I'm going to go through it fast. The guy asked me if I wanted ecstasy, and I said, "Wow, what the heck, why not?" I was already drunk. I was high as a kite on so many different drugs. That day, I was on weed. I was on footballs, which is a little lighter dose than Xanax. And I had taken a couple of whacks of coke, and I had drinking a couple of quarts of beer. So I was really lit. And we were going to go to the pool house to play pool. But before we did that, we stopped by a bar. And I wasn't old enough to go into the bar, but the guy that was driving was old enough, and so he told us to stay outside while he walked in there right quick. So we were outside, and in the midst of us being outside, two gentlemen approached us, about 25, maybe 26 years old, more or less. And I was 17, and the guy I was with was 18. And these people come up to us and they ask us, "Hey, you want X?" I was just like, well, let's see what you got. And the guy that I was with was tugging at my shirt, and he was saying, nah, don't go with them. I have a bad feeling, etc. And I was just like, shut up, man. Let's go, man. What are you scared of? You know, I was this tough guy, prideful guy. Just like Superman mentality, like, what are you going to do to me? You know what I mean? And so I walked over there to his car, and I'll never forget this day. He told me that the ecstasy was gonna be in his back seat, and when I got there was a guy in the driver's seat, and there was a guy in the behind the driver's seat, and right there on the seat there was a newspaper. So I turned around and I was like, "What? Where is the?" To ask him, and then boom, he has a gun to my neck right there. He said, "Get in the mother effing car," and then I'm high as a kite. So I'm like thinking to myself, man, this guy's too close to me. So I push him off of me, right? This guy flies 15 feet back. This guy's over 300 pounds, and I'm like a buck 50. Because I did a lot of cocaine back then, so I was very, very skinny. So I just kind of pushed this guy a little bit. He flies all the way back there. And so then I think to myself, rationalizing as he's running back to me again, I'm thinking in my head, I didn't push you that hard. Why you go all the way back there? So he comes back, he puts the gun to my neck again. He tells me the same thing over again, like, get in the effing car. And so, again, I just push him off of me, not really understanding the situation, the gravity of the situation. I didn't know it was a real gun. I didn't know anything. I'm high as a kite. I push this guy a little bit, and this guy flies back again. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I didn't push you that hard. Like, why'd you fly all the way back there? This is God. This is the angels of God assisting me, knowing that this man wants to take my life. Me not understanding, and the devil trying to take my life through this guy. So anyways, this guy comes back with the gun again, trying to do the same thing, and my hands go up by themselves. And my hands go up by themselves like a robot, and I start sticking this guy in the face. And so boom, I'm just sticking him, but it's not me. It's like my hands are doing it by themselves. So after sticking him in the face a few times, I start feeling sorry for the guy, and I start saying, man, why am I punching this guy in the face? Like, he hasn't done anything to me. So I stopped punching him in the face. As soon as I stopped punching him in the face, he shot me. He shot me in the shoulder. So I heard the gun go off, and then my buddy was getting beat up by the other guy that was with this guy that shot me. And so I looked at her and I said, oh, this is serious. That's when I started to realize I didn't know that I was shot. I just realized that it was serious when I saw my buddy getting beat up. So then at that point, I'm shot already. And then I look at the gun, and then I went for the gun, and we start to wrestle for the gun. So the gun's going all over the place, and he shoots again, and he shoots himself. He shoots himself in the wrists. At this point, I'm shot. He's shot. My buddy booked it, and then the guy that was beating up my buddy came over here to me, and then they rushed me. They jumped me. The guy takes the gun, and he turns it around, and he starts whacking me in the back of the head over and over and over again. So he busts my head open, and the other guy's just punching me in the back of the head at the same time. So my head starts to gush open, and it's flowing blood out like a water fountain, right? So now the people that are inside the car, they're telling the guy that shot me, they're like, yo, we gotta go. They're calling the police. So this guy throws the gun at my feet, and he gets back in the car along with the other guy. They peel out and they leave. I look at this gun, and I pick it up, and I see that it has weight to it. At that point is when it dawns on me that this is a real gun. See, the whole thing there, I didn't know anything was going on. I just knew that this is a scuffle. But I had been in many scuffles before that, so it wasn't nothing new to me. Fighting and the whole thing wasn't new to me. I had been jumped before, so I had been in altercations before that I had been in situations like that, but never with a gun. And so, from one moment to another, I feel a burning sensation in my shoulder, and my head is gushing out blood to where I have blood all over my neck and all that, and I think that I'm shot in my neck at this time. So I'm holding my neck, and my buddy comes running back to me like a good Samaritan, like, hey, you're still alive, you're good. And I'm like, you freaking guy, you left me here to die, Now I could crack about it. I could crack jokes about it because it's been, how much years has it been? It's been over 10 years. It's been like 15 years. So now I have a sense of humor about it. But man, I carried that for a long time. That's when I understood that people are full of crap. You know, they tell you everything you want to hear, but when the crap hits the fan, everybody is out for themselves. You know, and that was my eye opening experience. Like, this dude used to tell me, man, he had my back and the whole thing, man. I really believed him too, until that day came where it was time to prove it, and obviously he failed. So I told you that story about getting shot. I have other stories about God coming into my life and saving me from near-death experience. The other near-death experience was when I was coming out of a strip club, and there was a police officer. I used to get high with the strippers. I used to feed them wax, and and I used to fornicate with them, and like they used to buy me beers and stuff like that in the strip club. The strippers would, they liked me. So um, leaving the strip club, I had drugs and I had alcohol on me, and then I was leaving it, and then there was a police officer in the middle of the street, and he was telling me to pull over. And so when I looked at him, I said, "Oh snap, that's a police!" So I went around him and I got in a high-speed chase, and then I'm throwing all this stuff out of the window. I'm throwing alcohol, drugs out of the window, and all that, and I booked it. And eventually, I hit a roundabout in the middle of the street, and I went airborne. And the cop told me later on that he clocked me in the air at 120 miles per hour. I didn't have no seatbelt. I didn't have nothing. And this was God's grace on my life, the fact that I didn't die, right? The end of that story is that I didn't go to jail. Although the cop could have sent me to jail, he gave me a bunch of tickets and sent me on his way, because the crash was such a catastrophe that he was doing overtime, and he said, "Man, you know what? I just want to go home and be with my family." He said, "I don't know if you believe in God, but today you were born again, because I've seen other car crashes at 50 miles per hour and the brains of the person splattered all over the seat next to them." He said, "I clocked you in the air at 120. So he gave me this long lecture, and he told me, if you don't believe in God, you better believe in God, because he saved you today, etc. And so these were little experiences for me before I got saved, to show me that the supernatural is really real. Because like the stuff that I left without a scratch out of that whole car crash, and it was just supernatural. So I'm gonna right now I'm gonna probably make a part two, but that's part one. So the video's getting a little long.